Live from the Coors Light Studios, it's time for the Rip City Drive, hosted by the crazy and often irrational Chad Doing. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill.
After review, the illegal contact from defender Kamara occurs to the shooter's right foot with .5 on the game clock. Play will resume with Isaiah Joe shooting 2 free throws with .5 on the game clock.
Isaiah's already set up at the foul line, right foot slightly in front of the left. He needs all 3 to force overtime. And keep in mind the Blazers have a timeout left. It misses. Tip followed by Hartenstein, no good. Apparently they called it a 2 rather than a 3-point shot by Joe. How is that? His feet clearly behind the line. The tip by Hartenstein, no good. And the Blazers win the game, 121-119.
And the Thunder are no longer undefeated.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doing starts now.
All right, what's going on, my friends? So excited to talk with you today after what happened last night at Moda Center. And I got to be honest with you, that basketball game last night was probably the most fun and the best game I have seen with the Blazers in, I would say, 5 years. And it started out awful. It was like a repeat of what we saw on Monday against the Lakers, where they came out lethargic, they weren't making shots, and the energy just wasn't there. But they didn't hang their head. They stayed committed to the way they want to play. And then as the game went along, they continued to fight. And then as they started to make some shots and gain a little bit of confidence, you could see the energy really start to take over. And then as we got into the fourth quarter, I think the Blazers' energy at that point and the way they were playing and the way they were attacking, it started to have an impact on the Thunder, who had played the night before in L.A. And it was a late 8 o'clock tip on NBC. So the Blazers were able to take advantage of the opportunity. They got the job done, and that was a big-time win. And with the win, it erases the yuck of that Laker loss, but it moves them to 5-3 through 8 games. And now they can head out to Miami and get ready for that 5-game road trip. Can you imagine how good that flight felt with the way that the entire team was able to make a contribution? And it was kind of strange because I had gotten up on Wednesday morning, and like I always do, I start preparing for the Blazer broadcast and getting ready for the show. And so I'm reading over a bunch of notes and stats and just any kind of detail that I can find that, you guys might find interesting or entertaining or whatever the case may be. Well, I always check the line because I'm curious to see what Vegas thinks about the Blazers and these matchups with different teams. And I noticed early yesterday that the line was just Oklahoma City by 4.5. And I was like, wait, what's that all about? Because I had just watched the game the night before when they were playing the Clippers. The Thunder were unbeaten coming into Portland, and they are awesome. I mean, deep, talented, defending champs, and they're getting better. And they've got the MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they've got the type of guys with Chet Holmgren and Lou Dort, with Shai, versatile guys who can attack you in a variety of different ways. And so I hit up Travis, and I'm like, dude, why are the Thunder only a 4.5-point favorite? And he's like, well, maybe it's because they played last night and Vegas might be aware that there could be announcements coming about the lineup. Well, shortly after that, Travis hit me up again. He's like, dude, you see the injury report? And I said, no. And he goes, well, the Thunder are going to be without Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, and Alex Caruso. And I was like, oh. So I went back and checked the line again. It had gone from 4.5 to 3.5. So anyways, I thought that was interesting. But I knew once I saw the injury report that with Chet Holmgren out, that would make Donovan Clingan much more impactful in the game because Hartenstein's a more traditional center. He's not someone that's going to shoot or get you out behind the three-point line. And without Lou Dort on the floor, the Blazers can go small. And, because Caruso can play the 5 and small ball because he's a great defender. Lou Dort's just a human wrecking machine, one of the best defenders on ball in the game. And they didn't have those guys. But, of course, they still had Shai, and that roster's deep and talented. So I went into the game thinking, you know what, the Blazers have a chance to get a win tonight against the defending champs and put themselves at 5-3 going on to the road trip. Well, the game got underway, and it was like, what in the world's going on right now? The Blazers were ice cold in the first quarter. I mean, ice cold. It was 9-1 in a blink of an eye, and before you knew it, it was 32-16. And by the end of the first quarter, the Thunder had a 20-point lead. And early second, they pushed it out to 22, and I was thinking, this is going to be a horrendous night. And I had reached out to somebody who was at the game that I had gotten tickets for, and I apologized and said, hey, I'm sorry for giving you tickets to this game. Now, I later retracted that text and said, forget what I said because of the way the game turned out. But what I love about the Blazers, and, Tiago Splitter's this type of coach. I love coaches that have conviction. I love coaches that believe in what they're doing, and they don't deviate because they go through a rough patch or because they're missing a few shots. No, they want to play fast. They want to create turnovers. They want to get up more shots than their opponent, and they want to put you on your heels with their pace. And that's what the Blazers did. They overcame the early shooting woes and some of the stagnation in their offense. I think what we saw early in the game was, the Blazers relying too much on Shaden or Denny to work off the bounce against the set defense, trying to create for others. And it limited the movement within the offense. But as the game went along and the Blazers started to make a few shots and got a little more rhythm, they did a much better job of keeping the Thunder defense off balance. We saw better ball movement. We saw different guys getting involved. And I thought Denny Avdia, even though he started out the game really cold from the floor, did a great job of attacking, getting to the free throw line, setting up his teammates, and he finished the night with 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. But the Blazers, what they did is they utilized a big run in that second quarter of 16-2, and they got themselves back in the game. They actually cut the deficit to 1 in the second after being down 22 early in the quarter. But the Thunder were able to close the first half on a 10-3 run, and they got that really annoying bucket from Hartenstein, which is like, a second on the clock. They did that, long court pass over the top of Reef into the hands of Hartenstein, and he scored with 0.1 on the clock. I just double-barreled the floor because I was so ticked off. It's like, how can you give that bucket up right there? So, anyways, you felt a lot better going into halftime down 8, but obviously the Thunder were still in attack mode, and they were creating issues. But the Blazers continued to battle. And early in the third, the Thunder went on another run, and they pushed the lead back out to 14. But the Blazers were able to close the third quarter on an 11-2 run, got a miracle heave from Duop Reeve from atop the circle, and they were down by 5 going into the final quarter. Now, in the third, the Blazers did not shoot the ball well. I think like 39%. But they held the Thunder with their defense to below 30% shooting. So it was the defense that kept them in the game in the third so that they could make their move in the fourth quarter. And what we saw in the fourth was great execution, great defense, good energy, and good movement. Great execution within the offense. The Blazers in the fourth quarter last night hit 13 of 16 from the floor. They shot 81%. And on the night, they only missed 2 free throws. I think they were 30 of 32. So the execution, they actually pushed their lead out to 9 at one point on an Avdia 3 in the fourth. And they're sitting there up by 9, but the Thunder continue to chip away, and they're able to get themselves in a position to where they cut the lead down to 1. Now, that final sequence was wild. The Thunder had the ball, and Isaiah Joe got fouled on what looked to be a three-pointer, but when you saw the replay, his foot was on the line, and the referee had clearly indicated it was a 2-point shot. And that really saved the Blazers because Joe went to the line, made the first, and had to miss the second. And there was only 0.5 on the clock. And Robert Williams was able to secure the rebound, and the Blazers get the win by 2, 121-119. But this was a team effort. And there were multiple guys who stepped up to make a contribution. Early in the game, it was Duop Reef, who finished the night with 4 threes. He had 12 points. His early shooting kind of got the Blazers out of that, early first quarter slumber. Jeremy Grant, 20 points off the bench. He was sensational. His aggressiveness in the paint, he was getting to the line. He got to the rim. He made his threes. You can see the change in his game. He's either shooting a three or he's going to attack the paint and get it to the rim. He's eliminating the mid-range stuff from his game, and he's become a better player. Denny Avdia overcame a rough shooting start where he missed his first 7 shots, but finished with a flurry in the fourth quarter at the rim from 3, getting to the foul line and creating for his teammates. He had a couple of sensational passes, including one underneath the rim to Kamara, who went up and got the jam. Another big story last night was Drew Holiday. 6 of 10 from downtown. He, along with Reef in the first half, his shooting from 3 helped keep the Blazers within striking distance. But his defense at times on Shea, his understanding of where he needs to be, the way he was able to pick his spots on offense, he didn't force anything. He just let the offense come to him. And I thought he did a good job. Shaedon Sharpe in the second half was particularly sharp from downtown on the attack, setting up his teammates. You just saw multiple guys. Donovan Clingan was terrific with the shot blocking and his defense last night and his rebounding. You just go up and down the line. Chris Murray made a contribution. Take your pick. So many guys who were impactful in the game last night. And I thought Toumani Camara, he came up huge in the second half as well, both with his defense and with the three-point shooting. I did think the officiating sucked balls again last night, like usual. You know, they should have fouled Shea Gilgeous-Alexander out of the game. He cleared out Camara on that offensive foul with the elbow. It's like, what are you guys looking at? He had 5 fouls. But, of course, because he's a superstar and he's the reigning MVP, they don't want to foul him out of the game. But I just hate that. You know, the NBA officiating sucks. I don't care what they say or how people say it's the hardest game to officiate or what measures they say they're going through to make sure the officiating's sharp. No, it sucks. No, I've seen this routine before. It's the same way every year. They just pull stuff out of their backside. The whistles are crazy. The refs are clowns. But it is what it is. Why do I always tell you that I just go into every game assuming the officiating is going to be garbage? So anyways, I woke up this morning. I got home from the game last night. And, of course, I'm on this adrenaline high because it was so awesome that I couldn't actually go to sleep right away. I probably didn't fall asleep until about 3 o'clock. I'm sitting there lying in bed thinking about the game, and I got Mannix on TV. I'm watching Me TV at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Crazy. But I was amped up because the game was so great. That was so much fun. And I love watching these guys compete. And Tiago Splitter showing a little bit of fire last night. There were a couple times on missed calls that I thought he was going to run out on the floor and spike just body slam an official. So that pumped me up. The effort of the guys did. Because let me tell you something. I don't care who's on the floor, who's not. The Thunder are the best team in the NBA. That's a darn good basketball team. And for the Blazers to come back from 22 down against that team, that's pretty special. And that's one of those nights where, hey, you look back on the season like we talked about. You're going to lose games you should win at times. You're going to win some games you should probably lose at times. It all balances out. What a great win that was. And the Blazers just moving in the right direction. And they've overcome so much since the start of the year to get to where they're at. I like the togetherness. I like their commitment to playing fast. I love the energy and the effort these guys are putting out. That was terrific. But, yeah, I woke up this morning. I had to get up early because I had to drive south of Salem this morning, and I had to be on the road before 7 o'clock. But when I woke up after the adrenaline rush and not sleeping much, I felt like a teenage or like a young man, like a young lover that had had like an all-night affair, and then you wake up just completely gassed. That's what it felt like this morning. That was wild. That was great. That was so much fun. To see the guys flying around like that last night was great. So very happy with the game. For those of you who are there, I'm glad you were there. For those of you who watched the game, I'm glad you watched the game. But that was awesome. What a game that was. And it wasn't just one guy. It's like everyone you can point to that played made a contribution, a game-winning play. Now, there's something about it. You know, this is a different team. This is not last year or the year before, 3 years ago. It's a different group with more talent. And by the way, Drew Holiday's a badass, and so is Denny. But, man, Drew is so good. So good. I remember what we were talking about during the offseason when they got him? They brought him in because he knew he could help them win games right now. And that's exactly what he's doing. And I know the Thunder were missing 3 key guys, but the Blazers aren't healthy either. They miss Tease. They miss Blake Wesley. You just got to deal with the injuries as they come, manage them the best you can, and take advantage of the opportunities when it's working for you. But that was a great, great win coming off that horrendous loss to the Lakers. So it was good. So here's what we got planned today on the Rip City Drive. As you know, I care about helping people. And I've got a good relationship with Justin Louder, who is a teacher at Cascade High School in Turner, Oregon. That's where I was at this morning. And he teaches a media class for kids who want to get involved in broadcasting. through social media, through radio, television, you name it. And so he and I have teamed up to where, as part of his class, we do what we call a RipCityDrive takeover. And so I went down today to record multiple groups of students. I've got 5 of them, and they all 5 recorded their radio segments that we're going to play back today, and they all got to choose whatever topic they wanted to talk about. And the reason why I do this is pretty simple because, one, the best way to learn is to get real-life experience, right? I think we all know that. But also because my good friend and my broadcast dad and someone I love, John Phillips, always made me promise, because I was so thankful that he gave me an opportunity to, to do what I do. And he just said, hey, I know you love it, man. And it's okay. You don't, you stop thanking me, but just make me one promise. I said, of anything. And he goes, when you come across youngsters that have a desire to do what you do, help them get their foot in the door. And I said, no problem. So I have done that ever since. And so when I have a chance to help young, aspiring broadcasters, I will do it. So when we come back, we're going to hear part of the RipCityDrive takeover, courtesy of Cascade High School in Turner, Oregon, home of the Cougars. What a win last night. I appreciate your time. I'm Chad Doing. You've got the RipCityDrive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, great win last night for the Trailblazers, 121-119 over the Thunder. And it's also a good day for me because the Broncos here in a couple hours are about to go 8-2 on the year because they're taking on the Las Vegas Raiders in Denver. That game's going to be live here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Broncos and Raiders coming up at 5 o'clock. A little Thursday night prime football for you. Love where my Broncos are at. I'm totally down. All right, so big win for the Blazers. You can reach out to me and share your thoughts, 360-281-5473. You can text me. You can reach out to me on social, at Chad and Rip City on X. And, of course, you can join us via YouTube. Go to youtube.com, pull up our homepage, Rip City Radio 620. Like and subscribe. Great place to follow the shows or always listen and podcast via our free iHeartRadio app. All right, today is the day, the takeover of the Rip City Drive via Cascade High School down in Turner, Oregon. I'm very good friends with a good man down there, great teacher, Justin Lauder. He teaches a media class, and so each year I go down and we put together a project for the class where they have to come up with their own radio segments to get some real-life experience. They choose the topics, and we kind of work with them on the preparation of that, and then they deliver it. And as a promise, I play it back on the show. So today, you're going to hear from some of the youngsters down there at Cascade High School, which is pretty awesome. Now, the first group is a combination of 4 students, Tegan, Elijah, Grace, and Kayla. And they wanted to focus in on the Olympics. So let's take a listen to group number 1 from Cascade High School with the Rip City Drive takeover.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Elijah Sandoval. I'm here with my co-hosts, Kayla Thomas, Grace Wright, and Tegan Swing. Today we're going to be touching base on the upcoming 2028 LA Olympics. A little bit later on, you're going to be hearing about some volleyball from Grace and Kayla. Lastly, you're going to be hearing about some basketball from me and Tegan. But up right now, I'm going to pass over to Tegan to talk about some new sports coming into the Olympics and old sports coming out.
Thank you, Elijah. So right now I want to talk about, first of all, cricket. Cricket is going to be very detrimental for the Indian culture that they're bringing into the Olympics. It's going to rise up the exponential growth in their community and all of their viewers coming into the Olympics. And then we have flag football, which is a little controversial because the NFL wants to put all of their guys into the flag football teams and getting ready to go. But on the other side of the argument, flag football players that have been playing this game and working so hard and trying to get recognized in the sport want their chance to represent the USA in the upcoming Olympics. And then baseball and softball making their return, and then lacrosse coming in as well. And then we have squash, which we had to do some research on, but it's basically just racquetball. And then I'm going to throw it back to Elijah. He's going to talk about some that we don't think are going to be coming back, and we've also known that's not coming back.
All right, thank you so much, Tegan. The first sport being taken away is breakdancing. And breakdancing was under a lot of controversy in last year's Olympics because people thought it was unfairly judged and that there was a lot of bias going on in the judging. And so I think that is the main reason they're taking it away. And also, this is more of a personal opinion, I don't believe that breakdancing was that entertaining to watch as a sport. And I just don't think it deserved to be on the Olympic stage. And the next sport being taken away is boxing. And boxing is definitely going to hurt for a lot of cultures, especially more of the Latin American, Brazilian, Mexican cultures. And USA also, because, you know, we love our boxing. We tune into boxing all the time. And so to see such a monumental sport like that be taken away from the Olympics is definitely going to be hard. And I'm just going to say the 2028 Olympics aren't going to be the same. And now I'm going to pass it over to Kayla and Grace to speak on some volleyball.
I'm Grace, and I'm going to be reading off the first half of the USA Olympic volleyball team. First off, we have Jordan Poulter. She's a setter. Avery Skinner, an outside hitter. Ali Fronti, an outside hitter. Morgan Hentz is a libero, as well as Lexi Rodriguez is also a libero. Brianna Butler is a middle blocker. Madison Skinner is an outside hitter. Taylor Mims, opposite. Jenna Gray is a setter. Amber England is a middle blocker, as well as Anna Dodson. Rachel Fairbanks is a setter. Dana Redkin is a middle blocker. Zoe Jarvis was previously fleck. And Asia O'Neill is a middle blocker. Kalia Lanier is an outside hitter. And to continue with the roster, I'm going to pass it to Kayla, where she's going to say the rest of the roster as well as some coaches.
Okay, thank you, Grace. To continue on, we have Daniel Cutton, which is an opposite, Rooney Jones Purry, outside hitter, Sarah Franklin, and also an outside hitter, Lauren Breskno, a libero, Olivia Babcock, an opposite, Tian Jimson, a middle blocker, Ella Powell, a setter, Logan Lednicki, an opposite, Molly McCage, middle blocker, Mackenzie Adams, an outside hitter, Sage Kanakinio Torres, which is a setter, Lauren Eagleston, an outside hitter, Stephanie Samdi, an opposite, and Serena Gray, middle blocker. And that was the roster for the Women's USA volleyball team. But the coaches are Eric Sullivan, and the assistant coach is Mike Wall, and their team manager is Rob Browning. And I'm going to bring it back to Elijah. Oh, Grace.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about coming out of the USA and talking about some other countries. First off, we have a player from the Dominican Republic. Brendan Castillo is cited as the world's #1 female volleyball player. And based on rankings that consider individual performance and achievements, and other top players can include South Korea's Kim Yin Kong and China's Ting Zhu. And they rank high in various lists regarding the sport. Next, moving to Russia, they have the most medals in gold medal Olympic volleyball. And next, Brazil has the most medals for beach volleyball, while the U.S. still has the most gold medals. And women's volleyball, the United States is a reigning champion after beating Brazil in the gold match at the Tokyo Games in 2020. Now moving on to China, we have Xing Ting of China is frequently cited as one of the highest paid female volleyball players in the world. And she earns reported salary of approximately $1.61 million at one point in her career. And now, thank you for listening to volleyball. We're going to bring it back to Elijah.
Thank you so much, Grace. And I'm going to be speaking about some basketball, specifically some young stars to watch. You know, we had a lot of incoming players in this most recent draft that I believe could definitely make the Olympic team in 2028 after they mature a little bit and we see them play a little bit more ball. One of those I'm going to talk about is Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg was cited as one of the highest recruits and one of the biggest recruits that we've had in recent time in the NBA. And so I definitely think if Cooper Flagg matures, do his play style a bit more, and he gets more adjusted to that higher level of play, that we can definitely see Cooper Flagg in the 2028 Olympics. And another player I want to speak about is VJ Edgecombe. Now, he has been putting on a performance in his rookie season. He already has been doing very well in the games that he's played recently, and he's definitely making a statement in his breakout year. And I believe if he continues to play at this level, that he could definitely make it to the 2028 Olympics on the Olympic team. And I'm going to pass over to Tegan to talk about some players that he thinks maybe might not make the cut next year, in 2028, and that will be coming back.
Thank you, Elijah. First of all, I'm going to talk about, we definitely know Steph Curry is going to continue to lead the team as well as LeBron James coming up in the 2028 Olympics. We're very excited to see those guys play again. We think that, honestly, there's a lot of toss-ups because Derek White, that's one of the toss-ups that I've been looking at, that he's just not been putting up those points and showing us the stats that he can compete with those boys once again. Kevin Durant, once again, he's another toss-up. We're not sure how he's going to feel for the Olympic Games, but we're definitely excited to see those boys go out and play once again and win us the gold. And then I'm going to throw it back to Elijah. He's going to cover a couple of stats.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tegan. And I'm going to be speaking about France. And France being the runner-up, getting the silver medal in the 2024 Olympics for basketball. You know, only losing to the U.S. by 11 is just, such a big deal because we have such a stacked team of, people, NBA stars on the U.S. team. And so to be able to put on a performance like that and be on par with the U.S. is definitely a monument. And, I want to speak about their number one, leading scorer, leading assister, and just all-around best player, Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama definitely led the team's offense, defense, and just was all around the big name on the court. And so I think if he matures a bit more, he can definitely lead the team's offense again in 2028 and maybe to a gold medal. I'm going to pass it back to Tegan to talk about the third place runner-up, Serbia.
Thank you, Elijah. I'm going to talk about how Serbia had Nikola Jokic as basically their top leader in every single stat. And them coming in third, getting bronze, they had a hard-fought battle. Jokic's hero status has risen among Serbia fans and bringing those to the NBA, and we're excited to see what he can bring to these next Olympics. I'm going to pass it back to Elijah now.
All right, thank you so much, Tegan. Thank you guys for listening to us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one. I've been your host, Elijah. Bye.
All right, big thanks to group number 1, Tegan, Elijah, Grace, and Kayla, for discussing the Olympics in the Rip City Drive takeover. Group number 2 from Cascade High School down in Turner, Oregon, is a trio, Kane, Malachi, and Lincoln. And this group wanted to focus in on the World Series, and I think that's a great topic, right? Now, again, I let the students choose the topics they want to talk about, and you might ask why. And my thought is, just like I'm sure all of you probably feel the same way, is that I wanted them – I didn't want to force them into talking about the Trailblazers or a topic that I'm, really interested in. Like, I could have been like, hey, will you do a breakdown on Sean Payton and Bo Nix? Or can you do a deep dive on the bromance and the love relationship between Tony Romo and Jim Nantz? Like, I could have done that. I could have done that. Like, who do you think – I want to find out, class, who loves who more? Does Jim Nantz love Tony Romo more than Sean Payton loves Bo Nix? Like, that's an interesting topic to me. But I don't want to force the kids to talk about something that they may not be as interested in. So I wanted them to focus in on topics that are interesting to them. And so they get to choose. And so group number 2, Kane, Malachi, and Lincoln talk about the World Series and what a World Series it was, especially that Game 7, which saw the heroics there in the 9th inning with Miggy Rowe.
I'm your host, Kane, here today with your co-host, Malachi and Lincoln. Today we'll be talking about the MVP of the 2025 baseball season, what the best season of all time is. But before we get into those things, we're going to talk about the Dodgers versus Blue Jays game, with the Dodgers winning this year's World Series. So we'll be starting off with Malachi about the World Series 2025 game.
Okay, thank you for introducing me, Kane. The Los Angeles Dodgers' victory in the World Series against the Toronto Blue Jays was a testament of their strategic gameplay and ability to capitalize on key moments. Some key factors that contributed to their win was the Dodgers' strengths and strong pitching from Yoshinobu Yamamoto's heroic 2.2 innings in Game 7, showcased the team's depth and talent on the mound. The Dodgers held an ERA of 3.95, slightly higher than the Blue Jays' 3.21. However, they made crucial pitches when it mattered most. Clutch hitting from Freddie Freeman's walk-off home run in Game 3 and Will Smith's game-hitting win in Game 7 demonstrated the Dodgers' ability to deliver under pressure. Lincoln, would you like to add on to that?
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, you're right, Malachi. The Dodgers did make really crucial pitches in the right moments that mattered most. Even though the Dodgers gave up 2 home runs, back-to-back 3 pitches to start the game, they were able, even though they did that, they made the right pitches in the right moments to overall win the World Series and be the greater team overall. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, like you said, one of the best pitchers there is right now. He, second year in the MLB and second year in the playoffs, both trips in the MLB going to the playoffs, and both resulting in World Series wins, and he has helped carry them in both seasons and both playoffs, and has been the best player, and that's why he deserves the MVP. Kane?
Oh, yeah, so Yoshinobu Yamamoto helped majorly with their World Series, had a total of 201 strikeouts of that season, had an average pitching speed of 94.5 miles per hour, and a usual pitcher of that season was pitching at 86.8 miles per hour of that season. But I bet you can add some more detail to that.
Yeah, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Hard to stand out in a crowd with the Los Angeles Dodgers when you have the great pitchers like Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, and even Shohei Ohtani making his return this season. All of them helped carry, but Yoshinobu Yamamoto coming out of the bullpen, crucial in Game 7. Even though he started and got the win in Game 6 the game before, he was very reliable and helped them seal out the game for the final outs in Game 7. But, yeah, crucial starting pitching from him and relief appearance in Game 7. So he really did deserve that MVP. Malachi?
Since we're on the topic of the best player, I think another good topic would be the best season. I think that the best season might just be 2025 because of the historic win when the Dodgers became the first team in MLB history to win Game 7 on the road despite trailing in the 9th inning. They also became the first team since the 2000 New York Yankees to successfully defend their World Series title. Kane, what do you think?
You know, that is a valid argument, but I would think that the year 1951 is actually the best season because in the 1950s to the 1960s is around the golden era of baseball, and the 1950s is when the television became very popular. But the thing about 1951 is that a lot of key figures such as William Mays and Mickey Mantle are when they begin their baseball career, but also people like Joe DiMaggio, who ended on his 1951 year. So there's a lot of starting and endings for key people. But in 1947, you have Jackie Robertson, who broke the color barrier. And while that was great and introduced new people into baseball, it takes a couple years for that to really settle in. So by 1951, with all this popularity going out and with more people who can join on the fun of baseball, then that is probably the prime year of baseball.
That's all for our World Series talk. Catch you in the next episode. See ya.
All right, it's the Cascade High School takeover of the Rip City Drive. Big thanks to group number 2 with Kane, Malachi, and Lincoln and their discussion of the World Series. Rip City Drive today, Chad doing with you. We've got the Raiders and Broncos coming up at 5, so you can get some live NFL. But when we come back, more of the Cascade High School takeover. I'm still feeling wonderful and got a buzz coming off that game last night with that come-from-behind victory. Down 22 against the defending champs and the Trailblazers get the win. Sensational. All right, we'll keep things rolling. I appreciate your time. You got the Rip City Drive, Chad doing with you. More of the Cascade High School takeover of the Rip City Drive when we come back. All right, Rip City Drive, Chad doing here. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday. We've got Broncos and Raiders coming up at 5 o'clock. A little Thursday night football for you as Denver getting prepared to go 8-2 against the Raiders. Sorry, Raider Mike, but that's the way it's going to be. The Broncos right now atop the AFC West. They need this win to go to 8-2 and then prepare themselves for the Kansas City Chiefs in Denver the following week. That's going to be big time right there. All right, today is the Cascade High School takeover of the Rip City Drive. I went down to Turner, Oregon this morning. Still buzzing from the Trailblazers' victory last night over the Thunder, but good friends with the teacher down there, Justin Lauder. Good man. He's got a great media class, and so we put together a project every year where the kids have a chance to take over the radio show by preparing their own topics and then having to deliver them, which I think is pretty cool. And they each got to pick their own topics. Now, our third group here is a combination of four: Lila, Anna, Gianni, and Zadri. And so they got to pick their own topics. They wanted to focus in on high school volleyball. So we will do that. Take a listen to the Cascade High School takeover here on the Rip City Drive.
Hey everyone, my name is Gianni and I will be your host for today. I am here with Anna, Lila, and Zadri, who will be talking about some controversial topics and some opinion-based topics. These topics include home court advantage, real or just a belief, the recap of Nebraska season so far, and to start off, we have Anna talking about school versus club volleyball benefits. Now here is Anna with the benefits of school versus club volleyball. Take it away, Anna.
Hey, this is Anna, and I'm going to be talking about whether school volleyball or club volleyball is more beneficial and which one is a better environment for the parents and players. An opinion-based answer would be club volleyball is better, but I guess we'll see based on the facts. So first, we're going to talk about school volleyball and its benefits. High school volleyball is beneficial for a multitude of reasons. It supports physical fitness, teaches life skills like teamwork, discipline, and leadership, and helps students manage time effectively. It also builds self-confidence, encourages social connections, and can improve academic performance by promoting focus and responsibility. Some advantages include fostering school pride, developing leadership skills, maintaining academic performance, cultivating a successful mindset, and promoting overall well-being. The piece emphasizes that high school sports not only enhance physical health, but also contribute to personal growth and academic success. And there is no question, school volleyball offers great opportunities for learning the game, building friendships, and experiencing team competition. But if your athlete is serious about improving, gaining exposure, or building a foundation for a future in the sport, it may be time to explore club volleyball. Next up, we have club volleyball and why it is better than school volleyball. Club volleyball offers more play, more reps, more growth. Practices are limited. Competition is usually local, and teams often focus on preparing for the next match. In contrast, club volleyball runs for around 5 or more months with consistent playing opportunities, a wide range of tournaments, and focused skill development. In school volleyball, there's typically one team per grade, meaning limited spots and clear you made it or you didn't outcome. In contrast, NSSC offers multiple teams per age division. That means your child isn't boxed out if they're a little behind the curve or just getting started. We believe in earning excellence, and that includes giving more kids opportunity to grow, develop, and find their fit. Club volleyball also provides much better opportunities and more playing time. Therefore, club volleyball is more beneficial than school volleyball. This is just my opinion on why club volleyball is better than school volleyball, so if you don't agree, that's totally okay. You decide which one you think is a better match for you.
Thank you, Anna, for that great view on school versus club volleyball benefits. Now, moving to our next topic, we have Zadri talking about home court advantage, real or is it just a belief? Go ahead, Zadri.
Thank you, Gianni. This is Zadri, and I'm going to be talking about is home court advantage real or just a belief? Although home court advantage isn't necessarily a real thing, it's a self-esteem thing. Most players, when playing at home, want to defend their own court or field and prove to their peers that they can win to keep a victory. Playing at a home game versus away game also just has a better feel due to being familiar with the area and being used to running up and down the same court, running along the same bases, using the same nets, and same field that you're used to. Along with that, it's more of a psychological thing due to the fact that you're more comfortable with your surroundings, used to the features of the area, and familiar play. Sometimes you may get stressed and not want to lose out a home game, and it ends up putting you under pressure, and you can lose. Playing at an away game is also very stressful because you want to defeat your opponent in their own territory. Being at home, you also get to use your own equipment and even same refs or umpires and announcers, along with people from your school coming to support and not playing in front of other kids from a school you don't know. Home court advantage is not necessarily a real thing, but it definitely helps the feel of the game.
Thank you, Zaydri, for your viewpoints on home court advantage. And now for our last topic, we have Lila recapping Nebraska's volleyball season so far. Now here's Lila with our last topic.
Okay, so currently Nebraska is number 1 ranked by the NCAA rankings. And so I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of some information about that and kind of like just some more information about them and how they've come so far and being the top team. So some starting information that we have is they've stayed top number 1 team this whole season so far. And as of November 2nd, they're currently ranked 20-0, all wins. And some things that have helped them really like get to the top position and stay in the top position is one thing that so the first thing that I'm going to mention is that they're under new coaching. So for the last 25 years, John Cook has been the head coach for the Nebraska girls volleyball, but this is the first season that he has been retired. So they're under new coaching by Danny Busboom Kelly. And she coaches a lot different from him, but it seems to be pretty positive for the girls so far. She has a really aggressive, like, win or lose mindset, right? Like, she has very aggressive coaching, very aggressive like strategies, and she wants the girls to be number 1. She makes frequent substitutions, which John Cook avoided, which this is a big difference. He liked it he liked his lineup to stay pretty much the same, and DBK switching up the lineups has helped them quite a lot. They also have very elite defense. This has helped them a lot because they're able to keep the ball in play. They can also be really scrappy when they have to be. Some of their liberos and DSs that have been a big impact this season includes of Lainey Choboy, Olivia Malk, and those are just the liberos, and then Maisie Boisier and Carrie Leanback have been also very impactful on this team. They also have very efficient offense, very tall front row players with very well-trained verticals and strong approaches. As of November 1st, they have a very high hitting percentage of .337, which is really good. And they've been the first team since 2007 to finish the season hitting over 3.300. They also have another really good thing for them is that they have a really deep bench, and basically this meaning that like DBK could honestly throw in anyone from the bench and know that they would do well like playing with the team. They have really highly skilled players, and so just knowing that anyone could go in and like help the team is very good for them and very impactful for the team. But honestly, I think that they're honestly also the only team that's been undefeated so far. So hopefully they are able to keep that up, and I think that they have a really good chance at keeping that up this season. So yeah, that is all.
Thank you, Lila, for recapping that topic for us, and thank you everyone who listened to our segment on Rip City Radio Station. I hope you have an amazing day, and this was all done in a very respectful manner, so we expect the same from everyone else. This is all opinion based, and so it's just like what we think was. So yeah,
yes.
That's all. So thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Group 3, Cascade High School take over the Rip City Drive. Big thanks to Lila, Anna, Gianni, and Zaydri. We'll keep things rolling here on the Rip City Drive. I'll share more of my thoughts coming off of last night, and then we'll get to more of the takeover from Cascade High School. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday. I appreciate your time. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. It's a long, long season, but I hope some of you now can start to see why I projected and predicted this team would get 45 wins this year. They're at 5-3. It's a long ways to go, so we'll see how things shake out. But this team's not the team that we saw the last few years. You could see that. They're long, they're athletic, they're deep, and they've got guys who are playing really good basketball right now. Now we're going to see how it continues. They got a tough road trip coming up with multiple games that are going to be difficult, including games at Dallas, at Houston, and Miami. It's not going to be an easy road trip. 5 games. They're going to be away for quite some time. But I like where this team is at. And again, props to Tiago Splitter and his coaching staff, for the work they've done in the face of adversity. But that game last night was terrific. Absolutely terrific. I thought it was going to get bad, like we all did after the first quarter. It's like, oh, no. And then the Thunder pushed the lead out to 22. But, the Blazers just started to chip away. And then all of a sudden they got a hot hand from Duop Reeve, a hot hand from Drew Holiday. And then the confidence started to pick up, and that added to their energy. And then guys started flying around. And by the fourth quarter, they were flying around. Shaden Sharp was big time last night. 22 points, 6 rebounds for Holiday. 20 points off the bench for Jeremy Grant. I thought he was particularly sensational. And then Denny Avdia, on a night when he didn't shoot the ball well, impacted the game significantly. 26 points, 10 boards, 9 assists, and he was great in the fourth quarter and aggressive. Tamani Kamara was awesome. And then everyone else that played made a contribution. Sidi Sissoko using his physicality, Chris Murray, kind of the all-around game. I was just thoroughly impressed. After such a poor start to the game, to be able to bounce back and do it against the defending champs, that's pretty darn impressive. And I don't give a flying rip who played and who didn't. They went out there and got the win. Oklahoma City is deep and really good. They're the best team in the NBA. And the Blazers didn't flinch. They just continued to chip away. I like this group, man. There's a togetherness to this team. They do play for each other. I know it sounds corny, but they do. Not every team does, but this team does. So last night was just one of those moments. I'm watching the game like, wow, it's the best experience I've had there in over 5 years. That's how good the game was. That's how well they played. That's the energy that was present. That was big time, like really big time. And, I think that's, when a team plays like that and you have a team that plays hard, they're not perfect. Dave Decker talked about it yesterday. They've got a formula for how they need to play to win games. But, as we also know, is that they're not a great shooting team, but on nights when they hit threes, they're going to be a problem. And last night, the Blazers, I think it was 19 of 43. So they're over 40% from downtown. Their pressure was effective. So that was just a great, great comeback. A lot of fun. That was a very, very good early season NBA basketball game. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. Real quick thought on this game coming up. Again, styles make good fights, right? This Oregon-Iowa matchup is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I like Oregon to get the game, but it is not going to be easy. And the Ducks, this is one of those games where if you win the coin toss, you take the toss, and you go down there and get a touchdown. They need to get Iowa on their heels early, and do not let them get an early lead. Do not turn it over. Do not make early mistakes. It puts Iowa in a position where they can get a lead and sit on it with their physicality at the line of scrimmage, the way they want to run the football. I can tell you how Iowa wants to play and what Oregon needs to prevent. They want to shorten the game, meaning they're quite content if they were able to have a 14, 15, 16 play drive. They'll line up and run it, and they're quite happy with 3 or 4 yards and a cloud of dust. They want to move the chains and keep the clock rolling. And I was talking about that with Alex Brink earlier in the week, where as a quarterback, when you're not on the field because the other team's been just eating up the clock with their ground game, he said you get impatient, and that's where mistakes can come. So very important for Oregon not to make mistakes and to get an early lead, and if they can do that, they'll be fine. Because Iowa, as they have an identity, they know what they want to do. They're a physical football team, but they're not a great offense. If you get on top of them, they're going to struggle to score. So, physicality's got to be there for Oregon, unlike what we saw against Indiana. And you got to play clean football because Iowa is fundamentally sound. But it should be a great setting. Iowa City's a great spot for a football game. They've got great tradition there. And this is part of the fun of moving to a new conference is that, for the Duck fans who are traveling, you get a chance to go into a new city, a new environment, and get a chance to check out how they do things there, which is cool. So I'm looking forward to that game. But the Ducks are fine. The reason why they were ninth in the first playoff rankings is because their schedule has been pretty weak. But that's about to change with games against Iowa and USC and at Washington. Just win games, and the rest will take care of itself. But this is one of those games. The reason why it's important is because we all looked at this game at the beginning of the year, right? You look at the schedule, you see the ones that you can put a check mark by, and then you circle the games where you're like, this could be a problem spot. This game here is a problem spot, so they've got to find a way to take care of business in this spot. If they do, they're going to be fine. It's pretty simple, and that's really all you need to focus on there. All right, Blazers will continue their road trip, or not continue it, but it kicks off Saturday in Miami against the Heat. That's going to be a 5 o'clock tip. Chris Burkhart, or is it going to be me? I will have Blazers game day starting at 3, and then I'll have the pregame show across the network at 4 with the tip-off at 5, and I'm actually going to be on fifth quarter that night as well because Burkhart is going to be away attending to other business. So there you have it. All right, we'll keep things rolling here. When we come back, more of the Cascade High School takeover of the Rip City Drive. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday. Thursday night football coming up, Raiders-Broncos at 5. All right, if you're just joining me today, this is something I do every year, and I love it. I've got a good relationship with Justin Lauder down at Cascade High School in Turner, and he's got a media class where they teach a variety of different things, but broadcast is one of them with social media, radio, television, you name it. And so we came up with a project idea where each year the kids would work on their own, radio segments, and I would go down and record them, and they get a chance to, perform and have them be played out on the show. And, of course, our platforms through the podcast, on the radio, on YouTube, you name it. So it's a good experience. And when I was, trying to figure out how to get into broadcasting, I would have given a body part to have some real live experience. So that's why I do it. And Justin's a good dude. And so the kids got broken up into groups of mostly 3. There are a couple of groups of 4. But they get to pick their own topics, and they come up with the ideas that they want to talk about. So our next group number 4, is Matthew, Ben, and Jackson. And they decided they wanted to discuss, quote, sports. And so I think it's kind of a variety topic deal here. So let's take a listen to group 4 in the Cascade High School takeover of the Rip City Drive.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Matthew. I've got 2 friends with me, Jack and Daniel, Benjamin Davis and Jackson Teal. We're just going to talk about sports and just different other ones because we just feel like it. And, yeah. So, first up, I'm going to talk about swimming. Benjamin's going to talk about archery. And then Jackson's going to talk about NFL and just some stories he's got for us. All right. And let's move on to swimming. All right. So, swimming dates back to, ancient Greece, 2,500 BCE. Long time, but don't want to go too much into history, but it became recognized as an Olympic sport in 1896 by the Olympics officially, and honestly pretty cool because I feel like it's a very underrated sport, and a lot of people have a feeling that it shouldn't classify as a sport. I'm glad to see that it was introduced in the Olympics a long time ago. But yeah, just a little rundown back to history, I guess. Greece, boxers used to swim as some form of training they had, and it's cool to note, 'cause as a swimmer myself, when you're swimming you use major muscle groups, like you use your whole arms and legs, and that's really great because it's a constant strain. It's a lot of focus just on those muscle groups. It's just really good. And I feel like using it for boxing as some form of training, it would help too, because it's, like I said, every muscle in your arm. So yeah. But however, back to that. So yeah, they used it as a training method for Greece boxers, and then swimming was kind of halted during the Middle Ages because they were dealing with some epidemics at the time. And moving forward, just important people or athletes. I feel like the number 1, Michael Phelps, the most noteworthy person of the face of swimming, in my opinion. He's honestly just a really easy person to name when it comes to anything with swimming. He's, I believe, the number 1 Olympic swimming champion with 23 gold medals.
Isn't he just the number 1 Olympic, full stop?
I don't know. Just he's got 23 gold medals, Ben.
Yeah.
And yeah, his records include the 200-meter butterfly. Oh my God, the butterfly is crazy. But yeah, he's got a lot of gold medals in a lot of the events too. And yeah, just a lot of good things about it.
He's had a pretty impressive career.
Yeah, he has had a great one. And it just burns a lot of calories too. It's a really great hobby.
Exercise.
Yeah. All right, Ben. I'm gonna move it on over to you with archery.
Yeah, as you said, I'm just gonna discuss some of the points about archery, and I just I don't know if I consider it a sport per se, but it's a great hobby to get into if you wanted to do something outdoorsy and something fun like that. But yeah, I mean, bows have been around since before recorded history. If you're thinking a crude bow with a stick and a string kind of thing, but yeah, they've been I mean, obviously the decline of bows ever since they've been starting to make firearms and whatnot. But I mean, they were still using warfare like up until like the 1700s because they were just like a little bit better than like the muskets back then. If you wanted to like shoot a little bit quicker or not and whatnot, they're also a little bit better, more accurate than muskets were. But modern archery competitions were like the most like recent one that I can is for an old archery competition would be in England in the 1500s would be 1583. And I think it was like London. They're like one of the oldest archery competitions to date that we know of. But archery was in the Olympics from 1900 to 1908, and it was a one-off in 1920. But if there wasn't any more archery competitions for like a couple decades after that, but gladly they brought it back in 1972, and they're still like happening to the modern day. But yeah, archery, I mean, it's like a pretty big thing in history. Like, of course, like you see this like in ancient works, such as like the Odyssey, if it be shooting the arrow through the axe heads. But what I'm like really wanted to talk about is like how they should bring it back to like schools and stuff, because it's a great club kind of thing, and it's a good competition. It's fun, and because we have like state competitions in like every state, we have around 9,000 schools participating in NSAP in the United States, and it's a good thing. It's fun, and Jackson here is also like in archery with me, among like others.
Yeah, Ben, I think what we're trying to get across to everybody is that bring this to your school's attention, because this is a really great way to bring something back that should, in my opinion, should be continued on throughout the time. It focuses you to focus on a lot of mental aspects and move muscles that, even though you think you're using them, you know aren't actually really using them that as much as you think you are. So I think that's really apparent to work on, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's a great gateway to if you wanted to get into hunting and stuff like that. It's a good way to hunt. If you didn't want to buy a gun or something because it's like a little expensive, I mean bows. I mean you can get a bow for a pretty good price. It's a pretty fun thing to go bow hunting.
Yeah, honestly, so archery, I'm greatly interested in doing it. I just ain't got the time, unfortunately. Just busy with a lot of things. But yeah, archery always, well, a lot of people talk about like how you use, like Jackson was saying, like you use muscle groups, and you kind of have to like. A lot of people don't think about that a lot. I feel like it's common just to think like it's easy to pull back and then just shoot. But no, some like. How many pounds of like force do you think you use when you're like pulling a bow back? I know every bow is different, but like.
I mean, for the schools, like the bows are only around 20 pounds. But if you want to get really into it, like a lot of recurve bows, which is just it's a classic bow with like the wood and.
No sights, no nothing.
Yep, no sights. That's around like 40 to 50 pounds. But if you want to go like a hardcore like hunting bow, that could be like go up to around what is it, like 70 to 80 pounds, unless you want to go even more?
I've heard of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard of people going to at least 100 pounds, if not more.
For a compound, yeah.
For a compound and stuff like that, which not the same as a traditional bow in the sense, but like.
It's still a lot.
But it's still a lot. But with Matthew, with what you were talking about people thinking you can just pull up and shoot an arrow and it's just that easy. It's actually, as Coach Aaron, our coach for our club, would say, you have to kind of do things like a robot. You have to do them the same exact way every time. Otherwise, just the one thing that is off will throw not only if you throw your form off just a little bit, it'll mess your shooting up miraculously.
Yeah, because you have to aim your shot with the bow, obviously, but you have to hold that position and hold the bow. Like, you have to like actually pull the string back, and that's a lot of weight or a lot of force you need to do to hold that position for a little bit, and then aim up the shot, that shot.
Yeah.
Great. Anyways, I'm going to turn it over to Jackson for the end of this little program here to talk about some NFL news and what's happening in that arena.
So, just some few updates that I've found, just kind of looking through. The Packers suffered a heavy loss last weekend with their losing their 24-year-old tight end Tucker Kraft to an ACL injury, which he was attempting to make a block. His teammate accidentally kicked the outside of his right knee, which ultimately caused his injury, him being carted off. And it has been confirmed. So thoughts and prayers, and hope he makes a pretty smooth recovery. It just sucks to see something like that happen, but he has a long career to go. The other news I have is the Jaguars kicker Cam Little. He last weekend set the new record for the longest field goal kick in NFL history, beating Justin Tucker's by 2 yards, which is an accomplishment for somebody at his age, being only 2 years into the NFL, is a great accomplishment. And I would say, in my mind, that kickers should strive to set themselves to his standards, to set themselves to where he's at.
Jackson, what was the goal, or how far did he kick?
He kicked 68-yard field goal, beating the old record 66 yards by 2 yards.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. Thank you for listening to us, but we're going to wrap this up now. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Later.
All right, big thanks to Matthew, Ben, and Jackson. Now, our final group from Cascade High School for today is Dara, Ellie, and Ben. And their topic today is something that's close to my heart, Dutch Brothers. So they went outside of the world of sports, and they want to focus in on caffeine. And I think you know where I stand on this. If you want to get close to my heart, it usually involves coffee on some level. I'm totally down with coffee. I love caffeine, so I was surprised that they went with this topic. But we'll take a listen. Dara, Ellie, and Ben focusing in on Dutch Brothers. This also would be close to my son's heart. And I think Kaylee's down with Dutch Brothers too. Anyways, let's take a listen.
Hello, my name is Benjamin, and today we have Allie and Dare talking about Dutch Bros and the pros and cons of the things you consume in these drinks.
Hello, I'm Dara. First off, we're going to talk about Dutch Bros caffeine in their Rebels and why it's good and why it's bad. To start it off, a small Rebel has 80 milligrams of caffeine, a medium has 115, and a large has 160. The FDA has cited 400 milligrams a day for adults. That's 2 larges and a small Rebel, which is actually pretty good. I don't really know what teens have it. Ellie, do you know?
100 is the recommended daily level for teens caffeine level.
Okay, so they can only have a small Rebel. That's it. That's kind of sad, actually. To start off, the side effects of caffeine when you have too much is trouble sleeping, anxiety, stomach problems, dizziness, rapid heart rate. Adults, it looks like they don't really have to deal with that much. Teens have to be a little bit more careful, but yeah.
There are a lot of downsides of caffeine, but it can also help prevent Alzheimer's. So that's a plus. It can help you stay focused in school. So if you have to wake up early, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, no one's really super focused. So caffeine will help you actually pay attention to what's going on, and it's mood boosting.
That is so true. I had a coffee this morning from Dutch, and I feel as energized as ever.
I had a Rebel this morning from Dutch, and I feel great.
Ben?
I feel like if you take a moderate amount, it's actually really good for you.
That is true. It can be good for you. It could be mood boosting, but it could also cause fatigue if you have too much, which a downside to that.
But that's also all on you. So if you have too much, then that's on you. But if you have the recommended amount, then that's also on you.
Yeah, you should definitely know what recommended amount you should have if you're gonna get a drink.
Yeah.
But a plus side to Dutch when you get their drinks is their stickers. They hand out free stickers, but you better be quick. They go fast. Right now, it's a glow in the dark, so it's super fun.
And they don't just have stickers. Last year, they had a Dutch Bros shaped cookie cutter, and it was an ornament too. And they have straw toppers.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ben,
Do I have anything to add on about the stickers?
Yeah. What has been your favorite sticker that Dutch Bros has had?
Probably last month. It was just it was more unique than anything.
Yeah.
I really like the glow in the dark one they have this month.
It looks like a sled, like the silhouette of it that they do with their giveaways. It looks like
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Another fun thing Dutch has is their muffin tops. Those are very popular. Their most popular one is chocolate chip with 540 calories. Their lemon poppy seed with 460, and their orange cran with 470. They also have granola bars, which is 410 calories. For teenagers, their calorie intake is around 2,200 daily. So if you were to have a small Aftershock blended Rebel, my personal favorite, and a lemon poppy seed muffin, my also personal favorite, for each meal, you'd still be 70 calories short.
I mean, that's pretty fire. The lemon poppy seed is obviously the best one, but, you know.
I mean, and statistics show it's best for you besides the granola bar. It is best for you of the muffin tops.
Yeah, and I mean, the lemon poppy seed does have the least amount of calories, but it also has 6 grams of protein, so that's pretty fire.
And only 20 grams of total fat.
Ben, what do you think about that?
I prefer chocolate chip more, just because it has the highest amount of protein and it fills you up super quickly.
Okay, that's a good point.
Okay, yeah, but so does also the lemon poppy seed. I mean, I
fair.
feel like it's the glaze on top of each one that kind of fills you. It's really good. Especially on the lemon poppy seed, because it it balances out the tartness of the lemon, so it's just so good.
Yeah, it really is.
Why don't we talk about soft tops?
Oh yes, and with additional calories, it's never a problem, especially with soft tops on drinks. We took a poll amongst our class and found that the original soft top is the most popular out of their fruity green apple that they had 2 years ago, their caramel that they also had a couple years ago, their pumpkin, or no soft top at all. I mean, soft top is also just very simple to make from home. Their recipe is online for you to try. It's just 2 parts heavy cream, 1 part syrup, and you just froth that for 30 seconds to reach your desired thickness. It's healthier than whipped cream, which is always a plus side. It enhances the flavor of a coffee. So if you add the cold foam, it just enhances the overall flavor. It's just vanilla flavored, really. That's all it is. But it adds that little extra to it.
It really does add that little extra, and it's like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it really changes like the drink a whole lot. And I mean, like, if you don't like how thin like Dutch Bros coffee is or something, then get soft top and mix it in, and then it's not as thin, and it adds like that slight vanilla flavor. And I've never heard anyone complain about how vanilla ruins the flavor of something, because vanilla just goes with everything.
That is so true. It also has that aesthetic appeal to it to add visuals. So Dutch Bros does this thing where if you get a drink and you put it on your Instagram story, Facebook, and you tag them, they will repost it, and you can be on the Dutch Bros page, and it's really fun to do. And I was on it last year, and it was really nice to see that I was able to make it on their page.
Yeah, I was on there a couple of days ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What drink did you post?
Obviously the hazelnut truffle mocha, because that's finally back.
Was there soft top?
Of course there was.
There you go.
Ben, what do you think about their soft top?
I don't know a lot about them, but I like how you could choose the thickness, and I like how it's a good option on the menu.
Yeah, to add on to your customizability, with different flavors, you can add different flavors, sweeteners, allowing you to create your unique coffee experience. You can ask for less sugar, more sugar, extra sweetener, drizzle on top of the cold foam, sprinkles.
Yeah,
Fun.
it is just so customizable. Their Trick or Treat Rebel that they had this year, they had actual gummy bears on top. And their Firecracker Rebel from earlier this year for the 4th, they had Pop Rocks.
Yes.
It was amazing.
It was so good. And cold foam is really only for coffee, unless you're getting those 2 specific Rebels, then the cold foam's acceptable.
Yeah. And their green apple that they had a couple years ago, oh, that one was really good.
That one was so good.
Ben, what do you think about that?
I've never tried it, but I heard that the green apple is really good.
And it's not that bad for you until you add that artificial flavoring, so maybe the original is just better. Like I already said, it's healthier than whipped cream with only 5 grams of sugar, 100 calories, 8 grams of total fats, and total carbs of 6 with a protein of 1 gram. Kind of wish, actually, they do have added protein. I think you can do that. Or that might be Starbucks. I don't remember.
You can get protein coffees from Dutch with like quite a bit of protein in them. So
You can. And also, when we took our poll, somebody changed our pumpkin to Starbucks pumpkin cold foam, and that ended up getting a lot more. So I think.
But I think everyone knows that Dutch Bros is better than Starbucks.
But that's not a conversation y'all are ready for.
Yeah, it's really not.
But Starbucks, one plus to Starbucks is you can add protein to your cold foam now and mix it into your drink then. But you can add actual protein into your drink at Dutch Bros.
Mhm.
And you can add sour shots now.
Oh, those are so good.
Yes, you can add sour shots, boba. I don't think Starbucks really does boba unless you get their specific drinks.
But I mean, with Dutch Bros, you can literally customize everything. You can add flavors, take away flavors, add boba, or like if you get a boba drink with like, and you just don't want the boba, then just say you don't want any boba, and you can pretty much do anything with their drinks.
And the best part, no added calories. So it stays healthy for you.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Ben, what do you think about their customizable drinks?
I definitely think there's more options to it than Starbucks, and I like how you can add more protein in because it's a lot more better for people.
Yeah. Okay, that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, big thanks to Dara, Ellie, and Ben, the Cascade High School takeover of the Rip City Drive, and a big thanks to the students today for their work. It was great to hear their voices on the show, and a big thanks to Justin Louder with the takeover of the Rip City Drive, and we're going to have more students who are going to take over my show tomorrow. Also, Brian Noel, Fox Sports Radio, Bino, going to talk some ball tomorrow as well. Okay, we'll come back, and I'll give a little preview of what's coming up next with Thursday Night Prime, the Raiders and Broncos from the Mile High City. You've got the Rip City Drive with Chad doing on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. It's not too often where we have a chance to carry Thursday Night Football, but we're able to do it tonight with the Raiders and Broncos, and I'm excited about the game tonight. Obviously, I'm totally down with my Broncos being 7-2. They still have a lot of work to do with their offense. Seeing a lot of inconsistency in their, offense in general. I think sometimes Sean Payton gets out of rhythm with his play calling, especially when it comes to the run game. I think there are times where Bo Nix will miss throws. The majority of his misses have been big plays downfield with his overthrows. So they just have been lacking in consistency, and yet they'll have, they'll show glimpses for a quarter or a couple of quarters, or in the case of the Cowboy game, for 4 quarters where they're dynamite. Now, the defense, one of the best, if not the best in the NFL. They definitely have the best pass rush. They lead the NFL in sacks, and they've given up the fewest sacks. So the Broncos do a lot of things really well. The defense is terrific. Of course, they're out without Pat Surtain, at least for a couple more weeks. But they've got a deep secondary, and they probably have the deepest defensive line rotation in the NFL. And they've got great edge rushers with guys like Nick Benito, Jonathan Cooper, and, of course, Zach Allen. So the defense is great, but the Broncos just need to continue to search for more consistency. The good thing is about the defense, it's going to keep them in every game they play. So they're going to be a threat. Now, the game tonight for the Broncos is critical because it's a divisional game. They've already lost an earlier divisional game at the LA Chargers, so you need to win this game tonight. But most importantly, the Broncos are 7-2. If they win tonight, and I certainly expect them to, they're nearly a 10-point favorite. So they're not going to lose to the Raiders tonight. The question is, how much are they going to win by? The reality is that if they move to 8-2 and then they host the Kansas City Chiefs, Chiefs are on a bye this week, but they have 4 losses. If the Broncos go into that game at 8-2 and they put the Chiefs down and put them at 5 losses, and the Broncos are sitting there with 2, they're going to win the division. It's pretty simple. And they don't have to beat the Chiefs twice. They just need to beat them once. This game coming up at home. You do that, and all of a sudden you are in a prime position to win the AFC West and take it out of the stronghold of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So it's a big game tonight. Now, the Raiders' only chance is that somehow they can get their tight end involved on a regular basis because Bowers is incredible. But Geno Smith's been mostly terrible this year. Much better last week against the Jags, and their defense is bad. These are the type of games that Bo Nix normally plays well in, and the Broncos win big. So they're favored by 8.5, 9. I think the Broncos win and cover tonight and move to 8-2. And the Raiders right now, they don't have a lot of big playmakers on defense. Geno Smith has been wildly inconsistent. They've got injuries on their offensive line. He's going to be under a lot of duress tonight. So Chip Kelly's only hope is that they can somehow find some type of run game. The Broncos allow less than 100 yards a game in rushing. And they're going to have to get the run game involved and find a way to protect Geno. If not, it's going to be a long night. But like where the Broncos are at tonight. Really like where the Broncos are at tonight. And sitting there with 2 losses, which puts them right up there in the upper crust of the AFC with Indy, Buffalo, and New England. All right, tomorrow, Rip City Drive at 3. Blazers do not play again until Saturday. Brian O, Fox Sports Radio, will join me tomorrow. But you guys have a good night. Enjoy the game, and I will talk to you later. And how about that Blazer win, man? That was freaking awesome. All right, talk to you later. See ya.